Welcome to the Allegro Music Webcast, where music isn't just music and the ordinary is extraordinary. We're bringing musicians and artists from all over, from Los Angeles to San Diego to Hemet, to Portland to Minneapolis to Memphis to DC. We'll bring it to you. Just sit back, relax, and let it happen. On today's Allegro Music Webcast, we'll bring you a very special guest, Mr. Jeff Tower, and the music of Charles Argersinger, as well as two guys, Congressman Wiener and I met on Facebook. So sit back, relax, and put your feet up. You deserve it. Welcome to the studio. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome, Nick. How's it going, buddy?
Fantastic.
And welcome our very, very special guest, Mr. Jeff Tower.
Thank you, Jason. Yeah, great. How are you?
Round of applause for Mr. Tower.
Oh, and there was much rejoicing.
Huge.
Man, this is exciting. It's our first guest here in the studio. What do you think? Lights, camera. It's just amazing, isn't it?
The wonderful world of Disney.
It's absolutely incredible. All of this from our very humble abode. And once again, we promise to our listeners and those out there that we will bring you a solid B performance.
Guaranteed.
Bank solid B.
Yeah.
The last one we had was a good solid A. So I think, if we give them a C today, it's good enough, right?
From B to C on that one.
No, see, it's the law of averages. Well,
it's the new math.
we've got some good stuff going today. We'll be talking about the music of Charles Argersinger and a new album that's coming out, and that's why we've got Jeff here today, and you get to talk a little bit about that. And I understand Charles Argersinger is he's a composer by trade, is that correct?
He is. He's a wonderful piano player, not only classically trained, but also jazz abilities, and has a very storied career as far as not only California, but also did some teaching and some work in Chicago at DePaul, and then came back to Washington State, where he's finished up his career, and now he's retired, and he was a composition teacher. So jazz studies to composer extraordinaire, and then now just a composition guy.
Very good. And it looks like on this new CD that's coming out, LA Rendezvous. It's a collection of God and everybody that's out playing right now. There's some fantastic names on there.
Charlie called me up, and being the assistant at LMP Studios, we talked about doing a project of just his music on a CD for him, because he's got lots of recorded music throughout the decades on a whole plethora of different albums and CDs and DVDs, but nothing of his own that he can showcase as far as his works and especially his compositional techniques through the years. And that's what this project was all about.
Awesome. I've noticed this, and you'll notice when we listen to it today that there's some distinct differences in the music as you go through the album, and it really kind of takes you on a journey, if you will. Yeah, exactly.
When he picked the music for this project, it was different stages. Each chart or arrangement or composition, as you were, is from a different writing style period in his life. And you can really hear that on the CD.
Well, we're gonna start it off by playing "Softly as a Morning Sunrise." And who were some of the artists that played on this one?
Well, it was written originally for a vocalist in Japan, and it was released about 10 years ago, and it got to be like number one in Japan for this vocalist. And we recorded it here in Southern California, and then we redid it this last year, and used Lanny Morgan, the fine alto saxophone player, as
the super sax fame, right?
Absolutely, super sax, and lead alto for Bob Florence for many years, and also for Natalie Cole for many years.
Cool. Well, let's take a listen.
that was cool.
Love that.
How come you're not that good?
Well, you know,
You've been working long enough. I think it's time.
I've been working at the wrong things.
Yeah.
Been working at the wrong
When
things.
he's as old as Lanny, maybe he will be. You never know.
And he's a good-looking guy. I mean, I don't know when that photo was taken, but, if a lumberjack like that can play well, I mean...
That was Charlie Argersinger on the screen, as far as the...
Oh, okay, so
what
that
we
was
were
a
looking
piano
at.
player.
Yeah, there was the piano player and the
Oh, okay.
composer, right?
I was
Now-
hoping that
Lanny's
beard
much
would help
better
him out.
looking than that.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Now you said
love it.
you said this was originally a vocal. Do you know any of the vocal to it?
Softly as the morning sunrise.
Can you hum us a few bars?
That's why I play trombone.
Speaking of playing trombone, it was I understand that was all you.
It was, yeah. I did all the trombone tracks. It was a lot of fun. When I get to do that, it's a special deal because obviously it's a lot of work because you're doing 4 times the work as most of the guys on the track. But if you screw up, it's like you can only blame yourself too.
So now for people that don't understand out there how this type of thing works, explain your kind of process of recording all those tracks and bringing them all together. How do you start it?
Yeah. Well, like I said, we did this project really about a year ago. I think we recorded at the studio, LMP Studios in Claremont. Jim Linehan's the owner and the main engineer, and I'm the second engineer and the sales director. And Charlie and I decided we were going to do this project for him and get something with everything of his music on a disc all at once. And he's done some wonderful vocal things as well as instrumental. So half the album is vocal jazz. But we started out with brought in the rhythm section. Bobby Dominguez was the drummer. Adrian Rosen, the very fine Los Angeles bass player, used to be the music director for Arsenio Hall.
Oh, man.
And he was the bass player on the thing.
It's the fingers guy.
And then, and then Tom Hines, an outstanding guitarist in the Southern California area.
Oh, yeah,
and
he
then
is.
the piano player was actually Charlie's a very fine piano player, but he invited a very good friend of his, Ron Newman, who's the director of jazz and jazz piano at Michigan State University, and also Sonny Wilkinson's husband. So they're a package deal, and they've been friends for ages. And so the 4 of them came in and laid down, the piano had, everybody's got headphones and everybody's got a microphone, and the engineers are sitting in the booth, much like, here at the
Intern
studio.
Steve, yeah.
Right, and away we go. I think we did 7 tunes in one evening, and
That's
just
a hell of a job.
yeah, it was. It took about 6 hours, and but the guys were consummate professionals, so it went pretty quick. And as you listen to the CD, there's a lot of difficult rhythm playing on it because Charlie really features, I think, the rhythm section a lot. Very intricate. His writing is very, very intricate, very complex, very intellectual. And so, guys just have to sit down. They don't get the music ahead of time. They have to sit down and read it out. And so we got the rhythm section done on the Friday night. We brought the trumpets and myself playing all the trombone parts in the next day. And then on Sunday, I invited the Yancey family to put on all the woodwinds as far as the saxophone section.
Right.
And so Nigel Yancey, who's just graduated from Northridge as a jazz studies major, did all the alto work. And Craig Yancey, who's a professional saxophone player in the area and teaches, he did the tenor work. And then the youngest son, Austin Yancey, played the baritone sax. And then, of course, they played the flute stuff, too. So
That's how you get the girls. It's the baritone sax.
Yeah.
And the bassoon and bass clarinet, too.
Yeah, if you can't pick up a girl with a bassoon,
Size matters.
man, yeah.
See
Well,
you second
it
on that
is.
woodwind, that giant apparatus with.
Well, and also they have such an investment in instruments. They figure that guy's the guy with the most money too. So.
Wow. Well, the second tune we're gonna listen to kind of changes everything up a little bit and shows a little more on the Latin side. We've got salsa and peppers. Anything you want to add on that before?
Chorizo.
Well, again, it was originally written for the Chaffee College Band, which was one of the finer collegiate bands, and this was about 1985-ish. And Brian Betker was the director at that time. Now he's a principal in the Fontana school system. And mainly when it was written for Brian's band, most of the guys were professionals helping him out, at the college with numbers. And this recording is far and exceeds that just because of the level of musicianship is is far and above.
Well, we'll check this out and see what you think.
Yeah, soloists were Gary Foster and Craig Yancey, and I think Jeff Jarvis is on this. I don't know, I have to hear it. It's been a long time since I've heard it. It's a very complicated Latin tune. Yeah, that's our own Craig Yancey playing piccolo over the top of the trumpets.
Yeah, he's horrible, right?
Great musician.
He's a great guy, too. I love hanging out with that dude.
Yeah, this is Gary Foster. He's one of the great musicians in Los Angeles. Doubles, he's one of those guys that plays all the saxophones and all the woodwinds, and you can't really tell a weakness. I mean, all the instruments are super strong.
Absolutely incredible.
He does lots of TV work and studio work. He's one of the top call guys. And a good friend of Charlie's. That's why he's on the project.
Can do that.
Entrance, he was kind of having trouble bringing us back on that one. He it's his people's music.
Yeah, he was rocking over there. That's a toe tapper.
Man, what those lines? It's incredible, and they didn't get this music ahead of time. This was just sit down and reading.
Sit down and reading. And like the trombone parts, just speaking personally, they were really difficult because Charlie's the type of writer that, he sketches things out on the keyboard. Obviously, he's a piano player. And sometimes what lies really well on the keyboard doesn't fit the slide too well. So as you listen to some of the cuts, there's some really challenging trombone playing, and I'm pleased the way it came out.
Well,
we
being the
worked hard at it.
professional that you are, how much different is it that, you're playing behind the scenes, you're in the studio, and you're sight reading on this stuff? Is it difficult? Is there as much pressure on you because you're a seasoned player? Or
absolutely, maybe more because you're expected to do it the first time.
Right.
When we record younger kids and amateur groups in there, it's like you got to be very patient.
Yeah.
And you just, it's studio time. You just let the tape run and you try to get a good cut and save it, and there you go. But when the pros come in, everybody's looking at each other and the pressure's on. You want to nail it down the first time because then you want them going away talking that, wow, what a good job they did, instead of, man, I don't think we'll use that cat again.
Who is that guy?
Yeah.
Well, in the real world, what you're dealing with is, studio time is money. And,
Absolutely.
And, you can't afford to be retaking everything and taking up the engineer's time and all the other musicians.
Exactly.
You're paying everybody else that are waiting for you to finish.
I've been lucky in my career. I've done quite a bit of studio work, but it seems like all I do now anymore. Earlier in my career was before my kids were born, a lot of casuals and things and live shows and stuff and benefits and small group things in Palm Springs, and to complement the teaching career. And now as I've gotten older, it's like I don't need to do those things quite so much, and it's fun just doing the studio stuff.
You're tired of being a rock star.
Yeah, no more 70s style funk bands.
Yeah, no more glitter and stars on my cheeks.
Now that's
like
badass. That. The first bone player I ever heard of with glitter and stars.
Yeah.
Man,
it didn't pay anymore, by the way.
It was all for the fun of it, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
You see my rating? There's 5 stars right here.
Well, that happened to him, and it could happen to you.
Really?
Yeah, that's actually the next one we were going to talk about.
Oh, okay. Because I wasn't looking forward to the stars on my chest.
It could happen to you. Well, stop making me do those for you.
If they're gold.
So this is Charlie on piano, and this is a small group thing.
Hide your heart
And that's Sonny Wilkinson on the vocals.
like your
What a great jazz singer.
She's incredible.
Could happen to you.
Who'd you compare her to?
Don't count stars or
It's tough because she sings like so many people. Her voice control is just phenomenal. I would say, I think she sings a little like Natalie Cole.
Yeah, I can hear that.
And
I think she sings like a famed, like an underrated singer I've known for a long time. His name's Jason Strain. Jason,
Only if you want to shower, my friend.
he is underwater, underrated, underwater, both.
Well, maybe we should put him underwater.
That's how he sings.
Hey.
He's better that way.
Her phrasing's amazing.
Well, what's really amazing is her pitch. I mean, she did that first time. That was cool. She just came in and here we go.
That's badass. It's funny. I mean, in our age of modern music, I mean, you don't have that level of professional coming into the studio these days, I'm sure.
Oh, no. Most of the musicians nowadays, unless you're talking about the top echelon people in Los Angeles or New York, a lot of the bands that are on the road, and a lot of, just a lot of groups nowadays that you hear, they spend months preparing a CD in the studio. I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, like say one of the top, just as an example, like Aerosmith, okay, a very well-known rock group. They spend months in the studio preparing their projects, and this was done in 2 days.
That's amazing. That says something about the musician.
Yeah, it's a tribute to the musical strengths of all the people on the CD.
Who's that on trumpet?
That's a gentleman named Tommy Miles, and he is a jazz trumpet player and a teacher in the Phoenix area. And unfortunately, I have to say that he passed away. He had a heart attack about 3 months ago. He's no longer with us. So, I mean, that's literally the last playing that people will hear of Tom Miles.
Wow. Being a trumpet player with Miles in your name must have given him a lot of pressure, though.
Let's see. My name is Miles, and I'm going to take up the trumpet.
You better be good.
This could go well or go not so well.
Well, fortunately for him, it did work out really well because he sounded exceptional on that track. So,
man. So how is it bringing these guys from all over the place, Phoenix, everywhere else?
Yeah, I guess that's why Charlie wanted to go with LA Rendezvous because, like I said, it was kind of a love project, really. Charlie has Parkinson's disease, and we don't know how much longer he's going to be with us. We hope he's with us forever, but none of us are going to be with us forever. So, yeah, right.
He's like a fungus. It doesn't go away.
We decided to do the project, and so we called in lots of favors, and all his friends, Sonny Wilkinson and him have been tremendous friends for ages, and Ron Newman and Jim Linehan has done a lot of Charlie's compositions throughout the years. Some of Jim's best things on his own solo album and things were written by Charles. And Charles is not only a great jazz composer, but he's an outstanding symphonic and classical composer.
We saw as we were listening to some of the music, we had a couple album covers. He's got quite a few different albums that are available. His discography kind of ranges a lot of different classical, a lot of really interesting music, and you can check that out on his website at charlesargersinger.com, and it's pretty interesting, all the stuff he's been involved in. He was a professor at Washington State University?
Yeah, composition teacher for many years. And then he was the jazz studies director at DePaul University in Chicago, where he had an outstanding program. And that's where he met one of the groups on the album, Voice Trek. Those were 4 jingle singers from the Chicago area. And his first job was, believe it or not, jazz studies director at Cal State Bakersfield. That's when I first knew him. That's when I first got to know him.
That's you would think of Bakersfield as being a really great draw for musicians, educators, or people in general.
That's right. It's
It's a wasteland.
I don't want to go there, but
Nobody does.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Charlie had an outstanding program there. I mean, it was nothing, and he built it up to one of the better college programs in the state at that time.
Wow. What an accomplishment.
It just goes to show you, though, you can succeed anywhere, and unfortunately, you can have a fantastic music program in Bakersfield, but it's still Bakersfield, and polished turd is still a turd, But
I'm sure you're going to get a lot of favorable comments at Bakersfield.
We love you.
I'll say that in Bakersfield, but they're just looking at you and going, whatever. I'm going back to Chili's. I'll get to you later, boy.
The thing about Bakersfield is, they know it. It's like Hemet. People back on Hemet, you don't have people rioting in the streets. How dare you desecrate the glorious name of Hemet?
I'd have to put down my fried mayonnaise balls and come after you, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the standard line about living in Hemet is it's not the end of the earth, but you can see it from there. So Bakersfield might be a close second.
Might be. Well, I think we've got some interesting news stories going on, and there's a lot of things going on in the news now, and we decided to deploy our good buddy Ed,
our lead correspondent
Ed, to Washington, and we'll go to him over in Washington D.C. for these breaking news stories.
Take it, Ed.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen at home. I'm down here in the beautiful Washington, D.C. to bring you the latest information on Wienergate. The public humiliation of Democratic Representative Anthony Weiner has everything: sex, politics, hubris, and did I say sex? After Congressman Weiner's campaign of misinformation, he inevitably confessed to tweeting inappropriate images to numerous women while still married to his wife, Uma Abedin. While in the golden age of social media, the question is, how did the congressman believe he wouldn't get caught? Despite the efforts of some bloggers and political supporters who have been fighting hard to save their Wiener, the reality is, Anthony Weiner is trying to have it both ways. He knows he got caught tweeting his package to a young girl on Twitter, and in his panic he reached out and grabbed the easy excuse at hand. He was hacked. Unfortunately, Weiner forgot about the status of his job and thus did not think about the seriousness of what a hack would mean. So now he is caught between a rock and a really, really hard place. Either fess up and be known as a liar and a cheat, or push forward with the hack excuse and run the risk of committing a crime. So Weiner tried for the third option: admit nothing, hope the whole mess dies of old age. There's little hope that Weiner will be successful in having the whole thing disappear. The media, biased as they are, loves a good sex scandal. The only way the attention of the media will be drop this bone is if a mega story breaks out and to steal the attention of what is really happening. We are left to wonder if the congressman has it within him to rise up after this terrible fall. So we here at Allegro, we say to him that he should hold his head up high and stand strong through this ordeal.
Wow, thank you very much for that report there, Ed. How is everything there in Washington now?
Oh, it's awesome. It's hot, though. I am sweating like crazy down here. Humid.
Yeah, it gets very humid there, but and we notice you're there at the Capitol building. Now, have you been able to meet any important figures and important people? Have you seen anybody up there?
Just Weiner.
Just you've only been able to see Weiner.
I've seen a lot of Weiner.
Okay.
Lot of Weiner.
Yeah, I hear that's going around.
It's contagious. I have one now.
Like it's fungus.
Well, thank you very much, and I know you've got some more information on our great Governor Palin, I think you met with her earlier today. But what was the story you had on her?
Well, our story that we have, we like to call it as Palin's Paul Revere recollection. Former Alaska governor and now GOP presidential non-candidate Sarah Palin has done it again. She stuck her foot in her mouth in recounting the history of Paul Revere. First, instead of just answering the question of a reporter who asked how the day went, Sarah had to go off on some rant that now leaves everyone asking the question, how dumb can you be?
Sarah Palin grabbed
It
a
is
bite
hard to
at a
tell whether
bakery
Sarah
in the North
Palin is
End.
really going
She
to
brought
run.
her tour of American historic sites to Boston's Freedom Trail. At Paul Revere's house, though, she had a little trouble with the history of Revere's midnight ride.
He who warned the British that they weren't going to be taking away our arms by ringing those bells and making sure as he's riding his horse through town to send those warning shots and bells that we were going to be secure and we were going to be free.
Well, the history books tell us there were not any bells. Lanterns were used to warn the colonists the British were coming.
Oh, Sarah. I'm voting for her. Well, let's go back to you there, Ed.
Well, it's hard to tell whether Sarah Palin is really going to run for president in 2012 or she just wants to be in the limelight. But it does seem clear that Palin needs to trade in her tour bus for a short bus.
You know, we talked a little bit about Governor Palin on our last webcast, and I know this is a much better representation of her transportation than that bus we had on the last one. So.
Oh yeah, and I bet she looks good in mud.
Did you happen to see this?
It's got a Did
Did you happen to see this in DC at all?
Her in mud.
Did you see that in DC at all? Was that going by? If you can,
I did see that driving down the road, and they're heading to some down here. They have a thing called a mud bog, and I think they're gonna take her out in some mud. And
They need to take her somewhere.
I want to see that.
well, thank you so much for being out there in DC for us. Thank you for flying, and man, when you get back, we've got a cold beer waiting for you,
Oh,
and
No, we don't. I drank it.
oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But, at least try to get us an interview or two on the way back. I want you to stop into Louisiana on your way back. If you could do that for us.
I can handle that.
Some of my family's out there, and I'm not sure if they're cousins or uncles, but I think they may be both. But if we'll send you over there, and we'll expect a full report.
I'll research your family tree for you. How's that?
Thanks, buddy. Man, that was heartwarming and wonderful. Now, Jeff, what are some of your thoughts about Palin? Come on,
Be
you can
honest.
tell us.
It's
Be
no
honest.
secret.
Be honest. Go against the political flow, huh? Be honest. This country's in big trouble, and I don't care who it is, but somebody's got to get real and take some major steps and do a lot of fixing.
Excuse me. She
lot of
ran
fixing.
the state of Alaska
For
against
half a term,
Yeah,
right?
against their major enemies of Russia, which are right next door, apparently.
She could see them from her back door. Not sure how many things she could see from her back door, but anyway.
Lots of wildlife.
Honestly, if I had the
Palin.
inclination to run for anything, my speech shouldn't be, I'd like to run for wildlife executive. The history of that is bears, and one time I lost my tooth in the door.
She learned everything from Paul Revere and his bells.
Yeah, the bells.
His bells and shots.
They were going to warn the British because the British needed
Gotta warn the
warning.
British.
Didn't
Yep.
she end up
Of the Angry
having
Bells?
some kind of show on TV with her and her family, trying to?
Yeah, reality thing.
Yeah, there was
right?
some sort of reality show.
Yeah.
And they ran into bears or something like that. I don't know, and she got scared. Just
Thanks, Antonio.
ridiculous. I don't know.
I
I
like
just
it
had to
when
throw
you
that in.
share.
You know what? That's why I'm behind the computer. I just try to chime in, but I
Intern
probably
Steve, there's got to be a button to push somewhere.
Where's that mute button?
Oh man. Well, let's get back to some of the music, and we can chime in on Palin anytime. But this next tune is exactly like you, and this is dramatically different from the last one we heard. And anything you want to add on this one?
Just a fun old toe tapper, bassy style, and
I love this hard swing.
yeah, very hard swing. Very reminiscent of the big band era.
I like hard swings. I'm sure Congressman Wiener does too.
Know why I've been blue. I prayed each night for someone exactly like you. Why should we spend money?
Bobby Dominguez, the drummer, was kind of the hero of the whole project because you can imagine he's the first one to lay down all of his stuff.
Just rock solid.
And he's just right on everything. And some of this music is so complicated. This is really the simple tune of the CD, but yet he swings so hard. He's just a great drummer. Bobby's from Southern California, lives over in Colton, and been there his whole life, and just a marvelous musician.
I know why Mama taught me to be true.
And Sonny just sounds great.
Me for someone exactly like you.
The whole band is just incredibly tight. That trombone section, those guys play
Sounds
so
like
well
one guy.
together. Jeez.
This is Gary Foster again on clarinet this time. Gary came over from his house in, he lives in, having a senior moment here, the Whittier area, and he just came in about 1 o'clock and with his flute and his clarinet and walked out at about 1:30. Put 2 tracks on, 2 great solos on, and just thank you very much. See you later.
Yeah, I like him a little less now.
Jealousy much?
A little bit. Jeez.
I'm going to work today.
He's one of my favorite woodwind players. And what a nice guy. Just very genuine.
That's something to be said for a trombone player to actually dig a woodwind player.
Yeah, compliment a saxophone player, yeah.
I rarely make the occasion. The Yancey, Craig Yancey, I say he's a good player, but there's someone in the room that plays woodwinds. I'm not going to mention any names. I don't give any accolades ever. I don't like that whole reed sucking thing.
It's a scary thing.
I know.
Man, I like that old swing. I like that just real laid back, real comfortable feeling to it. And it doesn't. It's not like it doesn't drag or anything. It kind of pushes you along and makes you feel good.
Yeah, you get that with the rhythm section pushing and driving the beat and really playing energetic, and then of course the horns just kind of laying back and relaxing, and yeah, it's a wonderful feel.
Man, what a killer CD. Now, where is this available now?
You can get it on the internet. CD Baby. I know everybody's familiar with that, or if you're not, you should be. It's a very great source of great music from all genres and all styles. And Charlie's got it up on CD Baby, and I think on his website you can also get it. You mentioned that earlier, Jason. I think it's available through that too.
Now, if you're looking for that, if you go to CD Baby, you're going to look for Charles Argersinger, and it sounds hard, but it's not. Arger Singer, Singer. It's really easy. Check it out. And this is LA Rendezvous.
Rendezvous, right?
Man, I guarantee you, once you start, and you really get hooked on the big band stuff, and then it gets you into the vocals and it's a hard CD to stop.
Yeah, there's a lot of...
and don't try.
Yeah, and there's something almost there for everybody, too. It's like you said, the big band swing thing is there, a lot of great Latin jazz, some really difficult, complex funk music and commercial type things, and then some fantastic vocal jazz by not only Voice Track, which is a group out of Chicago, 2 ladies and 2 gentlemen, but also Sonny Wilkinson has several cuts on there, and it's a very nice album as far as well-rounded jazz and commercial music.
Very good. Well, we've got. I know you said you were having a senior moment a little earlier, but we've got a game for you.
More and more.
We've got a game for you today. You feel up to it?
I'm up for anything.
Okay. Which,
I mean, I taught
Should
high
I
school.
start it-
I taught
I
high
don't-
school band for 34 years. How could I not be?
well, I shouldn't have started with a game. I should have. You got $100,000? You have for $100,000?
The news
damn it.
correspondent does. He does.
Oh well.
That's why he flew to Washington.
You said it was up for anything. Jeez Louise. Well, how this game works, this is the made-up music game.
You knew I didn't have any money. I'm a trombone player.
Yeah, but
And
he's
a
got lots
musician.
of glitter and stars.
I said, and a musician. Sorry. That was my secret jab.
There you go.
This is how this game works. This is the made-up music game. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you an artist name, and then I'm going to give you 4 different songs. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, and your job is to figure out which one of these songs is not a song by this artist.
Is not. Okay.
Is not a song by this artist. So 3 of these songs are real, and 1 is not. Okay. So this very, very first one is going to be easy. You know, I know you know jazz, so we're going to start out with
Jazz?
Miles Davis.
Miles Davis. Okay.
Okay, and the very first one is Sweet Pea, Time After Wine, Yardbird, or Pee Wee.
Pink, 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 pink.
Okay. Yeah. Start the Jeopardy clock.
Sweet Pea, Time After Wine.
So they're not
Yardbird.
audio. They're not audio daily doubles. They're.
They are song titles.
I just get a pick without hearing anything, huh?
Yep.
I would have to say, well, Yardbird, of course, is a great jazz standard. I would have to say, I don't recognize. I've played a lot of music, and I don't recognize "Time After Wine."
Time After Wine. Well, intern Steve says it is Time After Wine. You are very correct.
Hey, look at there! I win the 100,000.
Good job.
One question of many.
Okay, so you've got one down, but let's see
Where'd
how
it
you,
go?
let's see how
Oh, it's
you
one
do.
of those. Okay.
Let's see how you do with rock.
I'm building the pyramid. Huh?
You are building the pyramid. Let's see how you do with rock. Okay.
Okay.
We're going to take the Rolling Stones now. Okay. These 4 songs are "Summertime," "Country Honk," "King Bee," or "Dirty Work." Summertime, Country Honk, King Bee, or Dirty Work.
Well, I'm not a big Stones fan because I figure anybody that's older than I am and is still touring and is a rock and roll band is really completely out of their minds and only in it for the money. So I'd have to go with "Summertime" is a great Gershwin classic, and I can't see the English band playing Gershwin. So I'd have to go with "Summertime."
You'd have to go with "Summertime." Well, intern Steve says it is "Summertime."
2 for 2.
right.
2 for 2, man.
Good Lord.
Jeez. Man,
You're
Who is
exceeding
this
my
guy?
I don't know.
expectations.
Who is this guy?
Okay, well, you're doing so well, so we'll keep it going with U2. Okay,
Oh,
I know you're extremely familiar with U2. You probably have
it's an
all
Irish
their
band.
albums.
It's an Irish band. Yeah.
He wins
I'm
again,
half,
he's right.
I'm half Irish, so there we go.
Now, which
I'm in
one of
trouble.
these songs, "Big Girls Are Best" and "Cat Dub"? I think that might have been a misspelling.
No, actually, it's not.
Really?
Nope.
"Crumbs for Your Tail" and "Deep in the Mud."
Oh, man.
Big Girls Are Best. We know that's a fact.
It's true.
And "Cat Dub," "Crumbs for Your Tail," and "Deep in the Mud."
This is I don't get an audience help on this, or
Uh,
I don't get a call somebody.
We can do one call, and it's
really?
a long distance call to Washington D.C. We can call
need
Ed
some help on this.
on location in Washington D.C. Let's go to Ed. And Ed,
Ed, help
you-
me out.
You're
You gotta
standing
be-
by there in Washington. Did you hear those songs that we had?
Could you repeat them one more time?
Okay, we've got U2, and this is "Big Girls Are Best" and "Cat Dub," "Crumbs for Your Tail," and "Deep in the Mud." And Jeff needs a little help from you.
Do
bud.
it for your country.
Which
God-
one
God and
do
Country,
you know
buddy.
for sure is not a U2
It's
tune?
Not a U2. Oh, wow. I would have to say "Deep in the Mud."
Now,
That's
are
what
you-
I would have to go.
Are you going to go with Ed's recommendation for "Deep in the Mud"?
Man.
I'm just putting Palin with it.
I think I'm going to have to.
Let's make those big for him again.
Mas
Big Girls Are
grande.
Best and "Cat Dub," Crumbs for Your Tail, and Deep in the Mud.
Okay, Ed, we'll see. We'll see. I think I'm going to go with Ed's Deep in the Mud. I don't think that's a U2 tune, but I'm totally guessing.
Okay. It is, in fact, Deep in the Mud.
Fantastic.
Man,
Thanks, Ed.
that is absolutely amazing. It really
Checks
goes
in the
to,
mail, Ed.
It goes to show you how wonderful things are going there in D.C. Wonderful.
It's changing minds one at a time.
All right, we're going to switch it up a little bit and go even more contemporary.
How many more of these things do I have to deal with?
We just got
Two
two
more.
Oh,
We just got
two left, huh?
We just got two.
Well, I'm already over 500 then.
See, this next one is going to separate the men from the boys.
Okay.
Okay, this is Lady Gaga. Okay, Lady Gaga, retro dance freak, sour marbles, hair, or black Jesus.
I know what you're thinking. It's
Now
not
this
thinking
this is a song of hers.
These are songs of
Three
hers.
of these
One
are
of
songs.
these is not.
One of these is not her song.
Correct.
Retro dance freak, sour marbles, hair, or black Jesus. We all know you love Lady Gaga.
I know some of her tunes. Which does that surprise you?
Can you play them on your phone?
Bad Romance, and yeah, I know some
Holy
of those
crap.
things. How about that?
He knows more than I do.
I
Yes.
hope that we can attribute it to that
Telephone?
to you having
Telephone,
kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they're not into Lady Gaga either. Let's see. I'd have to go with Hair.
You have to go with hair. Well, intern Steve says it is Sour Marbles.
Fantastic. He's not perfect.
I'm not
I was going to start
perfect.
calling him God for a second there.
It was getting close. It was getting close. Now, you still have a chance to win the affections of intern Steve and his services. We rent him out on a pro bono basis if you get this next one correct.
So 80% works for Steve, huh?
Yes, it does. Solid B performance. Now, this next one is Justin Bieber. I know you've got Bieber fever.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
You've got Bieber
does
fever.
have
Who
Bieber.
doesn't?
Yeah.
Now, is it Teensy Weensy, Dr. Bieber, Eeny Meeny, or Bigger?
Oh, my God. I think I hurt my spleen.
There
Oh
are
my
three actual Justin
These are his
Bieber
tunes.
songs.
He should be slapped just for picking those titles, if nothing else.
Three of these are actually Justin Bieber songs. Is it Teensy Weensy, Dr. Bieber, Eeny Meeny, or Bigger?
For Congressman Wiener, it's
Yeah.
surely Bieber.
Yeah, he's probably a campaign manager. He'd get the 12 and under vote. I think we'd have to go with, was it Eeny Meeny?
Eeny Meeny?
Yeah, who knows, though?
Intern Steve
I don't have a
says
clue. I mean, because that's not music.
it's
It's
Teensy Weensy.
Oh, it was close. I mean, do I get 5% on that?
It was an Eensy Weensy
Senor
Teensy
Steve
Weensy
says
little polka
no.
dot bikini.
That's right.
Ah, man.
No chorizo for you.
You were close.
60%.
You don't get intern Steve, but you get intern Steve's affections. Hopefully
and
that
we'll
counts
take care
for
of that
something.
after the show.
Scary.
That was a very good attempt. And,
Actually, you said it was a music quiz. So actually, on the music things, I did pretty well. On the junk, I didn't do quite so well.
you know what's crazy is this is music now. This is
know.
what is playing
It's
all over the
sad.
place and is billed as music. And
Well, Lady Gaga is,
Wow.
reinventing basically Madonna. I mean,
Yeah.
she's taken the fashion and she's taken her own style and all her own. She's very creative.
And she's an exceptional
she's an
musician.
outstanding musician.
Yeah,
she is.
At least we've got somebody that's doing, music nowadays. It's a real musician.
I don't like her ripping off of like the Madonna and the Britney Spears.
Yeah, that's
I don't
money.
like that.
It's money.
It's all money,
Well, yeah.
and it's all her little.
And she's banking on the fact that people, the kids nowadays aren't going to remember Madonna that much. Madonna, coming up.
Right.
And,
She's the big thing now.
she can completely rip her off.
I just really respect the fact that she can actually play music, though.
That's absolutely.
Justin Bieber could play music.
And she has all. I saw a documentary on her, and that's why I knew a couple of her tunes. She has total control of all of her production stuff too. I mean, she doesn't just, let someone just carry the ball on any of the aspects of not only her videos, but her touring, her music.
Well, it turns out people
she's
on
in
that
total
much booze
control.
and Valium really get bossy.
Well, there you go.
Well, you can tell she does have a lot of control if you've seen any of her performances. I caught her on a couple of the late night shows, and she's a hell of a performer. You can tell she's incredibly creative, but man, she's definitely on.
She's out there.
Yeah, she marches to the beat of her own tuba. Definitely. Well, let's get back to some real music, since we were talking about some real music.
There you go.
And let's play this next tune, which is A Little Luck, which is something I think we all need. This is that vocal group you were talking about, yeah?
Yeah, I think so. Voice Tracks out of Chicago. A present day takeoff on the old groups Singers Unlimited and the Hi-Los for the jazz history buffs.
Are you familiar with Straight No Chaser?
Very much so.
The group?
Yeah.
Love them.
Yeah.
That is definitely one of my favorite groups. And this is going to be one of my new favorite groups.
Yeah, the complex harmonies are just phenomenal. For the listeners, a lot of multi-tracking. There's only 4 voices, and yet they go over it a second or a third time and add the different harmonies and the different parts, a la the Hi-Los and the Singers Unlimited.
Those the bass parts are just so rich.
Yeah.
I think a contemporary person that does music today, pop music, and they do an excellent job of mixing their own harmonies is Imogen Heap, head of England, and she's amazing as well. But the quality of the music is actually something that reminds me of her, that's why I put it on.
It's time for you and me. The pieces seem to fit so neatly.
Now, for a group this size, for 4 individuals, would this feasibly be a sound that they could pull off live?
Yeah, these guys are good enough too. Right, yeah. I don't know how much touring they do, but yeah, these guys can still, even with the missing voices, that they don't multi-track in a live performance, still sing very well in tune and are great together and get some very nice, just some 4-way harmony that's outstanding for jazz.
This is such a big, rich sound, and man.
For years, being a high school band director and like listening to high school students play for 6 hours a day, some which was at a great quality, but some which wasn't at such a great quality at times.
Sorry for that, by the way.
Yeah, that was all you, Jason. But a lot of people ask me, well, what do I listen to? After a full day of teaching music, and it's that type of stuff. Very pristine, very clean, not very complicated. Singers Unlimited, or some small group that's just really precise and beautiful, and it just kind of it's like a meal. It's your final thing, and it cleanses the palate, and it just cleans your ears right up, and you're ready for the battle the next day.
Now, how is it writing and arranging for vocalists versus writing and arranging for a jazz group?
It's very similar. You just have to know their, like a professional group like that, there's almost no limits because they've got such great ears and they've got perfect pitch, and you can, whatever you put down on paper, it's going to come off. But for groups that are, more on the amateur side, you just got to know their vocal ranges and go with the style that they've been used to going with, as far as is it close harmony, or is it pretty simple harmony? things like that. You don't want to put. I've never been a big believer of putting musicians into a arena where they're uncomfortable with what they're doing.
I'm sorry, I have to go back, regress a little bit, but you made that parry between food and music, and I just had this visual. I mean, Jason Strain in the band that you listened to for so many years. That's your Del Taco. Okay. Yeah. Now he wants his filet mignon. He wants his porterhouse. He wants the great music. I just had this giant visual I want to share with everybody. But yeah, Burrito Grande right here.
Well, there's a time and a place for a
Burrito Grande.
A Burrito Grande. There is.
The Burrito Grandes of the world are the same people that are making the filet mignons too. It's just growth. The right chef gets a hold of them and
they put on that extra sour cream, and that's where it's at.
Sour cream and guacamole. You add that to anything, it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
One of my favorite places, the Santana's.
Santana's.
Over there, you get a California burrito with sour cream and guacamole. Oh my God!
You just gained 7 pounds, but you're happy about it.
That's why I'm sporting the new Kevin Smith look.
Yeah.
It's working for me, and I'm happy.
Yeah, he's maxing out in the whole burrito math, and good Lord, man.
As long as I don't fly American Airlines, I'm good to go, because, you
can't afford 2 seats.
They won't let me fly coach. Yeah. Bastards. Have you tried to fly Southwest, by the way? My God. It's
you mean the lines? I feel like I'm a kindergartner every time.
It's just
like you have to get in the right line, and you have to wait your turn.
And you don't have the assigned seating. They're like, if you have this one, this color, you go here. It's just like, oh my God.
And unless you sign up ahead of time online for your seat, you're always in the middle seat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And it's usually going to be like myself and Jeff sitting next to each other, and we're sitting there going, we're going to get to know each other really well. Yeah.
See, I never liked Southwest. I used to fly a lot, and my problem with Southwest was I always get stuck in the back. Whatever reason, if I sign up like 10 years in advance or the day before, I'm always in the back. So what happens?
It's because you're white.
All the people standing in line to take a piss, they're staring down at me. They're looking at what I'm reading. They're in my business. I don't appreciate it. I don't like leerers, especially when they're doing the pee-pee dance.
Well, you need to leave those dirty magazines at home.
That's precisely the reason I stopped flying and wearing sandals. Because there's nothing worse than being in an airport bathroom and realizing your feet are starting to get wet and you haven't gone yet. So,
oh my gosh! I just threw up in my mouth.
Yeah. Closed-toed shoes. That's what you gotta.
Well, I hate feet anyways. So closed-toed shoes never been a problem for me.
Well, we're gonna hit up this next song. It's On the Edge, and we're gonna check this one out
It's a tough one.
And see what you think of this. This is it's a hell of a tune.
This was nasty to record, I'll tell you that. I think this was one of Charlie's dark moments, I think. Ron Newman on piano just did an amazing job. I mean, when you come in and think that he just basically threw that down right there in the studio.
Wow. Sometimes you kind of forget, when you talk about musicians, what a gift that is to do that.
And Jim Lennon, played lead trumpet on this and really anchored the trumpet section.
Yeah.
He's the guy with all the technique, and if it wasn't for Jim, the trumpet section wouldn't have sounded nearly as professional.
Yeah, that's one thing I used
Hard
to be
stuff.
You
were a trumpet player.
I was a trumpet player.
Yeah, so you can appreciate some of the stuff they're doing.
There's nothing more effective than a good leader.
Yeah, in fact, the picture on the monitor right now, that's Jim's solo album, his debut solo album, gospel album, that Charlie wrote several of the tunes to. Well, this is Jeff Jarvis, who's the director of jazz studies at Long Beach, Cal State Long Beach. Great jazz trumpet player. Does a lot of work in Los Angeles. A lot of salsa bands.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nick's very, very familiar with salsa.
Hell yeah, I am. I was quite the dancer at one time. Tall white boy, salsa club.
The salsa champion.
I could get all the girls and see everything. I was like a 3 foot taller than everybody else.
It's this music's real nervous, not only to listen to, but also when you're putting it down. It was a very challenging piece to record. Now, this is Rob Lockhart. Rob is a great tenor saxophone, again, one of the top call guys in Los Angeles. And this is really his bag, too. I mean, he can do anything, but he likes to do music like this. Very
This has that more out.
Coltrane-ish, esoteric, psycho music, I used to call it. It's like you can't tell whether he's had his medication or hasn't.
Would you recommend that he take it or not?
If he keeps playing like this, it doesn't really matter, does it? Lots of altered harmonies.
Jason, why can't you do that?
This is a great trombone line. I had so much fun playing this line behind Rob.
There's kind of some interesting little background things. Back up.
Yeah, a lot of strange stuff.
And that really is a tight brass section.
Now keep in mind, Bobby did that when it was just a rhythm section. I mean, there's nothing else around here.
Did he sight read as well?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. He's one of the premier drummers of anywhere, and we're lucky to have him here. And he teaches at RCC.
Whoa. There you go, Antonio. I'm gonna brush up on your drumming.
You know, a lot of these guys you can hear. Jason mentioned working. We hear some of these people live. I'm the chairman of the Jazz Workshop up in Idlewild during the summer.
Quit bragging.
And we, a lot of these guys are on staff. Rob Lockhart teaches saxophone, and Bobby works with the drummers, and Tom Hines, the guitarist.
Oh, he's fantastic.
So if you want to hear these guys, our big band concert is July 13th at 8 p.m. up on the hill, up in the Idlewild Arts Campus off of Tollgate. Come on up and hear these guys play.
Where can they find information about that event?
Well, it's on the website for Idlewild Arts. I think it's idlewildarts.org, and me telling you about it.
And you can always get there by going and Googling the Idlewild Jazz Festival as well, and you can get to the Idlewild Arts Campus website from there as well.
Right.
And that's going to be one heck of a good festival this year too.
Yeah, a lot of great players. I just heard Gordon Goodwin and the Big Fat Band is going to be playing on one of the days, and some friends of mine, Voodoo Daddy.
Big Band Voodoo Daddy, yeah.
Glenn Marhefka, I'll give a shout out to Glenn, the trumpet player, and also the trombonist, and I go way back. So lots of good friends on those things.
That's going to be a lot of fun. If you have never heard of Gordon Goodwin, this guy has one of the premier big bands in Southern California, or in the country, actually.
In the world, yeah.
Yeah, and he's done a lot of work with Disney, done a lot of work at Disneyland itself, too, and been associated with Yamaha and you name it.
Yeah, he's done just an unbelievable, amount of work in the music genre. And in fact, all you cult figures and heroes, if you're the follower of the Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, Gordon did that soundtrack when he was 20 years old. He took that on, and I first played a Gordon Goodwin chart. My first year teaching back in Iowa, it was called "I Hate Those Mises to Pieces." It was a thing from an old cartoon show, and he wrote that in the back of his camper when he was a sophomore in high school, and his family was traveling around the United States on vacation, and he wrote that at 16 years old in the back of his camper, and so the guy's really talented.
He's a monster, and his band is just a collection of some of the best musicians you'd ever want to hear. And
all the top guys in Los Angeles.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be the Gordon Goodwin's Little Fat Band.
Oh, yeah?
He's going to have a
Small
smaller group.
Okay.
Smaller group. So that should be a sight to see, and there's going to be plenty of other cool stuff going on up there. And like you said, check out the Ottawa Arts Campus too. Check out their website and make sure you support that event because
Lots of things going on there in the summer. I mean, everywhere from adult visual and hands-on art, as far as they have Native American pottery, and there's lots of dance workshops up there during the summer. The music thing is actually a 6-week thing with the jazz workshop. We're going to have about 100 students this year, and there's also class pianos workshops. The middle of the thing is a junior high orchestra and band type event, and then the festival orchestra and the festival wind ensemble close up the summer, and they usually have a big performance at Disney Hall. So it's a great opportunity to plunge into the arts. If you're an artist, it's a good place to go.
So many great things going on here in the Valley and in the surrounding area, and there's not a whole lot of this stuff going on in Southern California. It's great to see that stuff going on in Hemet and Idlewild.
I agree with you. I mean, I like something that's close to my house, and if I don't have to drive that far to get there, fantastic. I mean, Idlewild's 20 minutes for me.
Yeah, with the price of gas now.
Good Lord, have you seen that? It's a travesty.
I still don't get it, and I don't like it. I'm buying a Vespa.
Yeah, he is.
I am. I'm going to be that guy crazy around town driving a Vespa.
Yeah, but he's pre-gas hike Vespa lover.
No. It was post-gas hike.
No, it's pre-gas.
Okay, a little bit pre.
Well, I was impressed with the bike that you rode up with to the studio with the playing cards in the back wheel.
Well, yeah.
For the sound.
It makes it sound cool.
It's that gay flower basket in the front that really gets in the girls.
I borrowed it from my neighbor.
And the horn. Don't forget the horn.
I can't forget the banana seat. Where does that end up? Because I see it go in and I see it come out.
Hey, how else would you have gotten here if not for the banana seat? Mm-hmm. Yeah, the uncomfortable thing is,
ashamed.
Yeah, the uncomfortable thing is Nick holds on and he always puts his hands in the front of my bike shoulder.
My fingers get cold.
Man,
what else am I supposed to do?
Man.
Yeah. We're trying to go green, Nick. Not anyway.
Brings back visions of Dumb and Dumber on that little cycle coming into Aspen.
Oh, you've seen Nick and I go to work. A lot of that stems from a night of heavy drinking in San Francisco.
That's coming. You're cueing in one of the tunes.
I am.
I caught that.
You're not supposed to ruin his segue.
What a segue.
This is I'm always drunk in San Francisco.
He's horrible at those.
They're wonderful.
I'm always drunk in San Francisco.
I don't think you'll hear this tune on Glee anytime soon.
That's why I don't watch it. And by the way, this song is actually speaking of my life's work.
They say that
In
things
San
like this
Francisco
go
many times. You don't really remember the silver linings.
And hopefully on the next webcast we have some video and some visual of that statement.
I hope not.
Oh,
boy. For your
sake.
Yeah, falling down Lombard Street wouldn't be pretty.
No, it'd just take a long time.
Can't really seem to help myself. And
Man,
what's more,
I still could get it through my mind. This was a one-take kind of thing. She just came in and did this thing. It's amazing.
Great vocal talent.
Never feeling anything.
I mean, even in the business, that's rare.
So tell me, why does San Francisco, just like the lover's kiss, go straight to
She has so much personality when she sings. You know, I mean, it's almost like every tune that she does, it's like a story. It's like it's a life, a circumstance. It's just not she's not just saying words. She's talking about something she's been to or been at.
Right. Now, who developed the lyrics?
I don't know. No, I don't know. They're great.
Obviously, someone that's been to San Francisco. Yeah. There were at least a few occasions in San Francisco when I was stationed up in Monterey that I can really relate to this song.
got that whole allure to the trolley car. What is it? And you get all the hobos on them. They don't like walking uphill.
Well, and after you see the movie The Rock, you probably don't want to ride too many trolley cars after seeing that immediately right in front of it. Especially that scene where it hits the gas main and goes about 100 feet in the air. and everybody's falling off the trolley car.
Yeah, but at least I have a cool war story to take with me.
Now, is Lanny playing on this one too, or is this the Yancey Boys?
No, this is a transfer actually from the album High Fly, an earlier version of some of Charlie's works with Sonny. This was her kind of coming out debut album called High Fly, and I think the title song we transferred over, and this one, and trying to think. I don't think Lanny was one of the saxophone players. I'd have to look at the credits. I think, and it definitely wasn't the Yancey. Might be Gary Foster, I can't remember.
Definitely a lot of that, those saxophone lines. It's just sexy. It's a cool tune.
Wow, rich vocals.
Yeah, I could do that.
That's love making music.
I could do that.
Well, she reaches for so many things. You know, Sonny doesn't play it safe. She goes with her heart and goes with her ears, you know, and makes some, takes some real risks as a vocalist, especially in the studio, you know.
It's definitely a win, man.
Yeah. You gotta, like, actually take a moment after you listen to that, because it's that deep.
Yeah, like I said, you know, this album's really cool because you know you can start it and listen all the way through, and there's so many different things to it. It's so interesting, and it grabs you, and it's a one hell of an album. What kind of things do you expect from this album?
They're already talking about it that hopefully is going to get nominated for a Grammy. You know, the Grammy process is a very difficult process anymore. It's like there's like about 3 phases. And first of all, you have to lobby for your project, and then it kind of makes the first cut. But then there's lots of those, and it's not nominated, it's called Grammy, I don't even know the word they use. They've got a term for it. But then the second phase is nomination, and then, of course, you make the final cut. And
Thank God this isn't a Latin jazz album. Because if it was a Latin jazz album, it wouldn't exist on the Grammy chart.
Yeah,
for sure.
Exactly. But I think it's got a good chance to make the first cut. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody that's heard it is just not only knocked out with not only the musicians' expertise, the tunes are great, the arrangements, Charlie's arrangements are just first flight, and then also the recording process. I mean, Jim Linehan did most of the engineering. I even got a hand of engineering some of this, and so we're real proud of how the actual recording sounds. It's like you've got the big band 10 feet in front of you. The ambience is fabulous.
As long as it doesn't fall into any one of the 31 categories that are now not associated with Grammys this year. So hopefully, can Nick and I vote? Can we send in our opinion? You need a letter?
I think you've got to be part of the Grammy family.
They'll listen to us.
I say that's an outrage, and I'm going to write my congressman.
There you go.
We'll write
just
a letter.
Write Wiener. Write our congressman.
Well, obviously we don't live in.
Well, I'll just Facebook him. I'll send him a picture.
Yeah, we'll tweet some stuff. Hopefully it goes to the right place.
We've already been talking.
We have some storyboard stuff that's going to be going on Twitter.
Oh man, well, Jeff, thank you very much for being here tonight. It's been awesome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to talk about great music.
Jeez, what a great album, and we'll encourage everybody to go to CD Baby and look this thing up and buy it. It's definitely worth your while. You'll enjoy it. You'll keep enjoying it.
L.A. Rendezvous.
L.A. Rendezvous, and
tell your local Grammy board member vote for this one because it's on its way.
That's Charles Argersinger, Argersinger, and you can log on to the Allegro Music Venue website and find out all the cool things we've got going on. We've got some music courses and all kinds of good stuff. We'll keep you up to date with everything that we have available, and we'll try to keep you up to date with different local music and musicians. So thank you very much for listening to us today, and we encourage you to support local music and music education from all of us here. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Ed, for joining us all the way from Washington, D.C.
Got to thank Mark Raphael for that great closing music credit.
Oh, yeah. That's
Otis Bump.
That's a little Mardi Gras relief
There.
off of the Jeff Tower and Ken Lee side album.
Who are they?
I don't know, but we sure had fun recording it.
This thing is awesome. And thank you, intern Steve. Thank you for all of you out there that are listening and supporting us. And we encourage you to continue that. And we bid you adieu.
I got a ticket in my hand and I'm going down to New Orleans. Yeah, that's right, baby. Got a ticket in my hand and I'm going down to New Orleans. Yeah, baby, when I get down there, I'm gonna go see the Voodoo Queen. Check her out at the Mardi Gras.
Did it record it?